For 16 years, we've been building a site that's been called innovative, insightful, and informative. Now there's a new name for it. We're now NBCNews.com.
All night, the bitter cold pried at the windows and licked under the door frames of the Bruner house here in Silverthorne, Colorado. Hardly a night to take a walk. Certainly not an all-night walk. Had she hurt herself? Or had someone else hurt her? It wasn't like Stephanie Roller Bruner to just disappear.
It seemed more likely that it might be a stranger that might be involved, or that Stephanie herself might have just run off in despair and maybe hurt herself.
Stephanie's friends and family pored over those last few weeks, so full of change and secrecy, turmoil. Were there clues? Of course, some knew about Stephanie's relationship with that new man, and how upset she was about losing her job. Still, she seemed to be holding the trouble at bay. 6 weeks before she disappeared, as Dale recalled, she suggested a little family holiday.
She says, let's go to Glenwood Springs for the weekend. Old, classic, wonderful place.
And it was almost romantic, said Dale, just like the old days. But when they got back, she gave him the news.
She goes, I want a divorce. I said, you don't love me anymore? She goes, I've met this other person. And she even said, it's not that I don't love you, but I think I've met my soulmate again.
And just like that, Dale's world came crashing down.
I called her brother. I called her sisters. I called her mom. I said, do you know what's going on? Do you know what's happening?
He talked to her sister, Ramona.
I remember during the phone call feeling really annoyed, like, why are you calling me to try and sway me to your side? But then by the time the phone call ended, I remember thinking, yeah, what is Steph doing?
He begged Stephanie's friend Jennifer, do something.
You got to talk some sense into her. You got to make her see that she needs to stay with me.
You had no inkling that this was coming?
No, not until she told me that she was in love with somebody.
Helplessly in love, she told him. Fell for her other man that night dancing with the mountain stars.
I go back to the day that I asked Steph if I should shoot that wedding or not, and I didn't go to that event with her. I wasn't going to be dancing with her on a big, important night for her.
It was a curiously old-fashioned affair, apparently. Stephanie told her friends her feelings were not so much physical as pure and emotional. But she made it clear to Dale that even though she still loved him, she had no choice but to follow these powerful feelings and make a life with that new man.
They said, if this is what you want, this is what you want.
It was decided Dale would stay in the family house. And so, the weekend before Stephanie disappeared, he helped her move into a rented condo. Why in heaven's name did you do that?
She asked me to help. Isn't that what you do? Right. I didn't fall out of love with her. I still loved her.
And then, middle of the night, her very first night away, Dale says he woke up to a commotion downstairs. It was Stephanie. She crawled right back into bed with him.
She had come home.
Wow.
She said this was all a horrible mistake and that she wanted to move back in.
And I said, are you sure? She said, don't worry, everything's fine.
But now, just 2 days later, things were not fine. Not at all. Stephanie was missing, and Dale was down at the police department telling officers where he thought his wife might have gone.
I thought she would go somewhere with her Wi-Fi and be on the computer, and my other guess was maybe she went to, Ron's house. I didn't know.
The police interviewed the other man, of course, Ron Holthouse.
I just want to ask straight up again, not accusing you, do you know where Stephanie is right now?
No, I absolutely have no idea.
Okay.
Well, yes, Ron admitted he and Stephanie had a romantic relationship, but he denied they ever slept together.
But we never ended up having sex.
And then Ron told them something very interesting, that he had ended the affair. It was the night she moved into the condo, he told them. He said to Stephanie, it was over.
I said, I'm going to move to Florida with my wife. We're going to try to go back to Naples and make this work.
Do you have any reason to believe that anything bad may have happened to her?
That would be my worst fear.
Well, Thanksgiving Day came and went. No Stephanie. An overstretched local police force called in the Colorado Bureau of Investigations, which is why Agent Greg Sadar was standing beside the shallow Blue River, staring at what looked like a lump of snow on some rocks.
There was several inches of snow on top of her, and you could see the body underneath the snow.
It was Stephanie, all right. But how did she get here?
Coming up, the autopsy finding that surprised everyone. Had Stephanie been murdered?
It's a whodunit. I had at least 3 viable suspects.
Any one of whom had potential motive.
Absolutely.
When Dateline continues.